All right, here are the solutions to the Algebra 2 practice review test. Number 1, 3 times the quantity x plus 2. Follow the distributive property. 3 times x, 3 times 2 will be 3x plus 6. Number 2, distribute again, but this one's more difficult. Negative 2x times the quantity 4x minus 8. Distribute again, and we get negative 8x squared. X times x is x squared. Multiply again, and we get 16x. Number 3, x plus 4 times the quantity x plus 7. We're going to do FOIL on this one. First, outside, inside last. X times x is x squared. X times the 7 is 7x. 4 times the x is 4x, and 4 times the 7 is 28. The two insides match. They are like terms, so the final answer is x squared plus 11x plus 28. New page. Number 4, we're going to FOIL again. We get 3x minus 8 times the quantity 4x plus 7. And we would multiply through, foiling again. We get 12x squared plus 21x minus 32x and minus 56. Again, the two middle terms match, so we get 12x squared minus 11x minus 56. So there's the distributing and the foiling. Foiling and distributing are very similar, except for foiling, you're distributing twice. Number 5, we have variables on both sides of the equation. So we want to get the variables on one side, numbers onto the other. I always say move the smaller amount of x. So we're going to add over 4x, and we get 12x plus 15 is equal to 51. Going to subtract over the 15, and we get 12x equals 36. That is definitely divisible by 12. X equals 3. Okay, the next one we're going to distribute first. So it's 15 times 1 minus x times the quantity 1 minus x is equal to negative 3 times the quantity negative x minus 2. I'm going to distribute the 15 through, so I get 15 minus 15x. Distribute the negative through, we get positive 3x plus 6. So negative times a negative is positive. Then we are going to move the smaller amount of x, so I will add 15x over. 15 drops down. 18x plus 6. So we've got the variable on one side, numbers on the other. I'm going to subtract over the 6 to get the numbers on the same side, and we get 9 is equal to 18x. Sometimes people want to say the answer is 2 to this because they get to the end and they just want to jump and get the answer. So you really need to divide by 18. It's 9 over 18. So if you cut a pizza into 18 pieces and there's 9 left, that means you have half a pizza. So the answer is 1/2. So let me go full screen on that. So distribute, get the variables on one side, numbers on the other, and then I divide it by 18. All right, next page. Let's see. How many hours did it take to repair? So x is equal, this is number 7, x is equal to the number of hours. So it's $25 per hour, so that's 25x plus the parts are 265, so that's a constant parts, and then it's so many hours to fix it. And the bill was for 15. So this is a two-step equation, but you had to set up the equation first. So you had to write the equation and then solve it. I don't want an answer. I want the equation and the solution. Minus 265 minus 265. I get 25x is equal to 150 divided by 25. And we get x is equal to 6. Since it's a story problem, we want to say 6 hours. Number 8. We have a right, no, not necessarily a right triangle, just some triangle. And the sides are 3x to 6x to 7x. So if we add all that together, that would be 10x, 16x. So 16x is the perimeter. And another way to say the perimeter is that it's 40 inches. So 40 inches. Divide each side by 16, and x is equal to 2.5. So that's the multiplying factor. It's 2.5. And you're not done until you put the x back in. So we're going to do 2.5 times 6. So that means this side over here is 15 inches. So label it as inches. This one's 7 times the 2.5, which would be 17.5 inches. And the last one is 3 times 2.5. So this side over here is 7.5 inches. So it's not enough to say that the answer is 2.5. The answer is all of the sides. Number 9. Okay, I'll switch back to black. Number 9, we have the distance, rate, and time. So I get distance, rate, and time. Distance 1, distance 2. These are bus 1, and bus 2. We know that one of them is going R and the other one is going 10 miles an hour faster, so it's going to be R plus 10. And they both travel for the same amount of time, 5 hours. So the distances total 550 miles. So we can come up with the equation. It's kind of like one of those ones that we did before. Okay, so distance 1 is equal to rate times time. So it's R plus 10 times 5. Now, why people miss this one is they don't distribute the 5. So you have to distribute the 5 through the parentheses. So distance 1 is really equal to 5R plus 50. That's key to this problem. Distance 2 is equal to rate times time, which is 5R, and there's no simplifying there. So what do we know about these two? Well, this distance plus this distance, distance 1 and distance 2, is 550 miles, 550 miles. So now we can write our equation. Distance 1, which is 5r plus 50, plus distance 2, which is 5r, is equal to the grand total distance between the two buses, which is 550 miles. Okay, we collect our like terms. 5r and 5r is 10r, plus 50 is equal to 550. Now we have a simple two-step equation. It's all about reducing it down to something that you can handle. So we're going to subtract 50 from each side of the equation, and we get 10r is equal to 500. Divide by 10. The rate of the first bus, the slower bus, is 50 miles per hour. The second bus, R plus 10, would be 60 miles per hour. All right, turning the page. So these would go a little faster. Number 10 is yes, it's a function. If we play the I say, you say game, I say 3, you say 7, I say 8, you say 7, I say 4, you say 2, I say 9, you say 3. So it all matches. Okay, there's 1 to 1. Number 11 is definitely no. You cannot have points stacked on top of each other, and there are points stacked on top of each other when it does that S or the infinity kind of sign thing. Number 12, what number do we put in there to make it not a function? Well, you're not allowed to have more than one y value for an x. So there's actually 3 answers to this. So if I say 7, 8, That's okay. If I say 4, 2, that's okay. If I say 9, 7, that's okay. And then what could I put there to make it not a function? Well, if I put the number 7 there, and I said 7, you guys would be like, oh, is it 7, 8, or is it 7, 3? But you could also put 4 or 9, and that would cause it not to be a function. So there's three answers to it. 7, 4, and 9 would make that relation not a function. Okay, number 13. I made one function, capital F of x is equal to 4x minus 1. Then a is f of 0, so you just put 0 in. So it's 4 times 0 minus 1, which would be negative 1. b is f of 2, just put 2 in. 4 times 2 minus 1 equals 7. Then c. C, you put in negative 3. So negative 3 would be 4 times negative 3 minus 1. That's negative 12 minus 1 more is negative 13. And then you can put anything into a function, like you can put another variable or constant into the function. So this is putting c in. F of c is equal to 4 times c minus 1, and you can't simplify that. Turning to the last page, we have the line stuff, and I really need a sip of water. My throat is getting dry doing this really quick together. All right, I am good to go now. So we got to graph these. Number 14. I do not have the graph set up yet, so we'll have to use our imagination a little bit. Y is equal to 3. Make it 3 over 1x plus 1. So you start on the y-intercept of 1, and then you go up 3 over 1. Up 3 over 1. So that makes a straight line. So that's pretty straightforward. Up 1, and then you follow the slope. Up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Number 15, you need to solve for y. So you got 3x plus 2y is equal to negative 4. We're going to subtract the 3x over to the other side of the equation, and we get 2y is equal to negative 3x minus 4. Divide all the parts by 2. So you get y is equal to negative 3 halves x minus 2. So for this one, I'm going to start down at negative 2, 1, 2. And then I'm going to follow the slope of down 3 over 2. Down 3 over 2. So it'll go like so. Okay, 2 questions left. Let's see how much time we've taken up here. This is a 13-minute video right now, so that's pretty good. And 16. 16, we have 6 comma 7. That is an x and a y, and we have a slope of 2/3. So here's my x and my y and my m. So I have y equals mx plus b. Y is equal to 7, as you can see. M is equal to 2/3, as you can see. And x is equal to 6. 7 is equal to 2/3 of 6 is 4. And we subtract the 4 over. B is equal to 3. I am not done until I actually write the equation. Y equals the slope 2/3 x and plus 3. There's the answer to that one. Number 17. So we have 4, 11, and 5, 9. Okay, you're going to do the slope. I'm going to do 9 minus 11 for the change in y, 5 minus 4 for the change in x. So it's negative 2 over 1, which is negative 2. Negative 2. Now I have to pick a point. My point that I'm going to pick is the first one here. So this is my x and y, and this is my m. So y is equal to mx plus b. Y is equal to 11 because we chose it to be that way. M is -2. X is 4. And we have B. 11 is equal to -8 plus B. Added over. 19 is equal to B. And that's most of the answer. But the final answer is putting the slope back in, which we found to be -2x plus 19. All right, hopefully this was helpful and I didn't waste 15 minutes of my life. Let me know what you think if you watch this and I can make improvements on it. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. So yay me for trying.